Arsenal taking on Spurs. I tell you what, this was pretty much done and dusted in the opening 35 minutes. Arsenal flying out the trap. Rowe would make it 1-0. Aubameyang then would double their advantage in the 27th minute. And then Saka makes it 3-0. All those goals coming 10 minutes before the break. Impressive stuff from Arsenal. Son would get one back. But Arsenal then taking all 3 points. Well, let's welcome Frank and Craig to the show to reflect on that result. Craig, Arsenal.
I told you.
You did.
I told you Friday when I was being Mr. Positive and you and Xhaka were being the negative brothers. I said to you, Tottenham are a shambles.
Yeah.
I mean, Palace took them apart, and I mean took them apart. Then after a good, decent 20 minutes against Chelsea or half an hour, they took them apart, could have had 5 in the second half. And now Arsenal have taken them apart for 45 minutes, basically, and then sort of switched off. And for anybody who thinks Tottenham were any good in the second half, well, Arsenal were 3-0 up, took the foot off the gas. But I think the Harry Kane falling over the ball for the third goal kind of sums Tottenham and him up at the moment, and you know, just absolutely going nowhere. But the one thing from Arsenal's perspective is, and Arteta did it last year, when his backside was in the hot seat, he got some results, and he's done it again thus far. But more importantly, that whole back line has changed. You know, with Tomiyasu, with the goalkeeper, with Ben White being back in fit again, like they were at Burnley, Gabriel back in, Kieran Tierney's a very, very good player, we know that. And then Thomas Partey in front at least gives them, and I'm talking about from a low bar here, I'm not saying this is Chelsea or Liverpool or City or United, I'm saying from a low bar, this is at least something to work with, and it was much better, and that's got to give Arsenal fans at least some hope going forward that they can put some results together.
I know the inclination from a defensive perspective, Stevie, is to talk about Spurs, but let's just focus on Arsenal just for the moment. Considering, as Craig was saying, we were sat here saying pretty much Arteta's got 2 games to save his career or save his job. He's turned it around, and then a big win, of course, today as well.
Well, I think the biggest thing is you can see a way out for Arteta and for Arsenal. You know, the back 4 that played today is no question their back 4. Tierney's one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League, and you look at White and Gabriel in the middle. They actually looked pretty solid today and previously. So it's something to build on. Ramsdale and goal made a couple of great saves. You know, the middle of the park looks as though it's hungry. It's got pace. It's actually got ability. You know, with Rowe and Saka going at defenders, it's frightening because they look as though they're going to beat them every time they do it. And then you've got Aubameyang, who, if he can get some consistency in his game, then they can actually win games.
Right.
How was Spurs going to win a game?
Yeah.
Because defensively, seriously, Sanchez and Dyer at the back, I think Lloris is past his best. I think in the middle of the park, they can't stop anybody getting at that back line. And they certainly can't feed the forwards any ball. So what does the midfield do? They don't actually do anything. So why is Harry Kane not scoring any goals? Well, 1, he's not playing centre forward. And 2, he's now become the guy who's trying to orchestrate things when that's just not... He didn't make his name doing that.
Sure.
Yes, he had a spell with Young-Min Song last year where it looked like this was a guy who could pick passes. But you know when it's expected, it's a completely different ball game. So Arsenal, absolutely, there's a way out. Spurs, I don't see a way out.
Yeah, Frank, obviously, what stood out from that Spurs performance was just the complete lack of cohesion at the back, just continually giving Arsenal gifts. How difficult is that to address for them?
Well, I mean, it's not only at the back, it's also, for me, especially in the middle of the park. And I would have been Nuno Espirito Santo. I would have made some changes after 30 minutes. I mean, where were Dele Alli and a little bit less, but still Luka Mouras, you know, defensively in the middle of the park, they were nowhere. And only Holberg was a little bit working, but what you can do when you're on your own. I think the coach is responsible for not making changes, but it's true that at the back, something has to be changed, you know, especially on the, I think it's the second goal. Yeah, no, on Saka, the third goal. I mean, that's awful. And you see Kane coming down, trying to tackle when he lost the ball. So it means that he has a commitment. But I think overall, the difference between Arsenal and Tottenham today in a derby and a North London derby is one team had the mindset ready for that when the other team were completely nowhere near it. That's the main difference, you know. And you know that it's not the game of the century, but you know it's a derby. You know you have to please the fans. You have to be up for it. And one team wasn't there, and it was Spurs, and the other one was working hard, and it's Arsenal, and it makes the difference. But Nuno Espirito Santo has to work with the defensive aspect of the game for his team, but not only with the defenders, but also with all the players, and especially, again, the middle of the park. I don't know. Dele Alli, I think he didn't want to play today.
How concerned would you be if you're a Spurs fan after this performance, Craig?
I would have been concerned after the last 3 performances, maybe 4. So it's not a surprise. So I would be hugely concerned. And, you know, not only the coach, but Levy and Harry Kane, they're going to carry the can if these results keep going. And not because Harry Kane is not trying or is not a good player, but they're all out of sorts. And, you know, the punters will say, well, yeah, upset the apple cart in the summer. He pushed for his move. He didn't get it. He doesn't really want to be here. He's not playing well. He's doing this. He's out of position. So it's just going to be a nightmare for them. But they're looking like at best a mid-table side at the moment. And you know, Stevie's right. They brought in some defenders in the summer, or at least one defender from Italy. So he's going to have to figure something. We know at Wolves for a long period, up until the end, where he went back to a back 4, I think, when he lost players. He generally played with 3 at the back for a long period at Wolves, and they had limited success with it. He might have to come up with something with the personnel he's got that's going to get this Tottenham team back in a decent shape, because they're all over the parish. And it's not just today. That's the problem. You don't just look at it as a one-off and say, bad day at the office, let's move on. It has been a bad couple of weeks at the office, big time.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.